would have thunk it? The Manhattan Madam at the center of the Elliot Spitzer Hooker case going to bat for Lindsay Lohan? And she is outraged, just as outraged as Lindsay's father, Michael, who's with us tonight from Boynton Beach, Florida, for Showbiz Newsmaker interview. Both Michael and the Madam are outraged over Lindsay's new lawyer, who just appeared with her in court, where she agreed to a plea deal stemming from charges that she lied to police when she said she wasn't behind the wheel after her Porsche slammed into a truck last year. Well, here are the terms of her plea deal: 180 days in jail. That was suspended. She gets 90 days in rehab lockdown, 18 months of psychiatric counseling, and 24 months of probation. Michael, it's good to have you here. Why are you so outraged and against Lindsay's attorney? He's keeping her out of jail. She's going to rehab in lockdown mode for 90 days, as I said. So what's wrong with that?
Well, the outcome is exactly how I hoped it would be, but he didn't do it at all, AJ. I had met with the prosecutors before he even got there. And I basically said to the prosecutors, there were a few things we discussed. Number one, that Mr. Heller had tampered with a witness. A witness had called me the day before. His name is Gavin Doyle, who was a passenger in the car seat. And he said that 3 or 4 days prior to this, that Lindsay had called Gavin up, and he went to meet Lindsay. And it was ironic that it was before the trial, of course. And Mr. Heller was there. And Mr. Heller asked him to sign a document that Lindsay never lied, that he never heard Lindsay lie during this case at all. But also, Mr. Heller told Gavin not to say that Lindsay wasn't driving, but to say, and I tell you this, from Gavin even told the prosecutors this, Mr. Heller told him to lie and say he grabbed the wheel and pulled the car in the direction of the truck so that he actually had control of the car, making him the driver, which is not only tampering with a witness, but he was just all-out lying. Mr. Heller has done a number of things in this case that really bothered me. He's done things in the past with other clients I know, John Goslin, Helly Glassman. He owes me a lot of money. He took money from them. He's just not a very ethical man. Okay, and
Michael, let me jump in. We obviously haven't been able to confirm your claims about what you say that Mr. Heller did. But today, Michael, we did learn that you have company. We heard that former Manhattan Madam Kristen Davis just wrote an open letter to Lindsay begging her to fire Mark Heller, her attorney. Let me read to you what she wrote. She said, "Mark Heller used to represent me. He did nothing to get me out of jail when I was arrested because he was more concerned with generating press for himself. He left me sitting in Rikers Island for 4 months despite dozens of pleas from my family and myself to file a bail reduction. After 4 months of his self-publicizing incompetence, I fired him." So, Michael, do you think Lindsay will step up and do the same and fire him? At one point yesterday, she actually yelled at him because he wouldn't shut up in court.
Well, I did the same thing outside of the courtroom. When Lindsay left and I left, I mean, he was still there giving a press conference, and when I found out, I confronted him. But, AJ, understand this. When I was back in the prosecutor's office, and I had hired attorneys, and they had spoken to the prosecutor, and I asked him, I said, listen, give her as much time in jail as you can, but also offer her rehab, just so she has no other choice but to take rehab, because that's exactly what she needs. Yesterday, so Heller didn't negotiate anything. It's, you know, maybe we planted the seed in his head, my attorneys and I, but at the same time, it was ultimately up to the prosecutor's office, the city attorney. And Mr. White and his co-counsel knew exactly what she needed. When I said not on a professional basis about Mr. Heller, but on a basis as a father, Lindsay needs help. She needs help. It's very evident, whether it was before court or after I met her after court, which no one knows about, of course, but she needs help. And the prosecutors, Mr. White, said, I know. Don't worry about it. We know what we're doing. And they did the right thing. And they put, the thing that bothers me, AJ, is they put constraints on her. And in that courtroom, her friend and her bodyguard were with her when the judge said, don't go to places where there's drugs or alcohol that might be used or sold. And what did she do last night with the same people in the courtroom that heard the judge say, don't do this? She went out again last night.
That's unfortunate to hear. But, Michael, I have to say, we do hope that this sentence imposed on her is exactly what she needs. And I do appreciate you being here. Yeah. We did reach out to Mark Heller as of our deadline. We hadn't heard back. Michael Lohan, I do thank you very much.